I wait for you the moment your eyes open. I hover at your bedside, eager to whisper, eager to make you start your day without Allah. For many, I succeed. They wake in haste, distracted and forgetful. But some remember. And when they do, my army crumbles. I can no longer come near them. Today, I confess to you the truth, the protection that makes me powerless when you first wake up. I will reveal to you something most of my followers wish I would never admit. It is not complicated. It is not hidden in secret books, nor does it require years of training. It is something so simple, so light upon your tongue, that many of you ignore it. Yet this single remembrance is enough to break me and scatter my army every morning. Do you know what happens to you when you sleep? You may think it is only rest, but for me, it is an opportunity. When you close your eyes, your body becomes weak, your soul is taken by Allah, and you are like one who has died, except that your time has not yet come. Each night you taste a small death, and each morning you taste resurrection. The Qur'an says your sleep is like a form of death, and your waking is like being brought back to life again. This is why I linger by your bedside, because when you wake up, you are at your weakest. You are confused, groggy, and easily distracted. That is when I strike. But there is one thing, one act of remembrance, that makes all my efforts collapse. It is when you open your eyes and immediately acknowledge your Lord. You say the words of gratitude, asterisk. All praise belongs to Allah, who gave us life after having caused us to die, and to Him is the resurrection, asterisk. These words destroy me, for they remind you of three powerful truths that I wish you would forget. First, they remind you that Allah is the one who gave you life. You could not have woken up without Him. You may think it was your alarm clock, or the sunlight, or your body's natural rhythm. But no, it was He who commanded your soul to return to your body. When you say those words, you recognize that every breath is a gift, and when you recognize this, you remember Allah before remembering the world. That ruins my plan, because I want you to start your day thinking of anything but Him. Second, these words remind you of your death. Yes, every time you wake, you admit that your sleep was like death, and that one day your sleep will not end. You confess that your return is to Allah. And when you admit this upon waking, I cannot control you with heedlessness. You walk through the day, remembering that your life is temporary. How can I tempt someone who already knows that they will stand before Allah? It weakens my grip. Third, these words remind you of resurrection. You affirm that just as you rose from your bed after sleep, you will rise from your grave after death. The very act of waking up becomes a daily proof of the hereafter. And I, your sworn enemy, have spent centuries trying to make humans deny or forget the resurrection. When you declare it every morning, you pierce my lies with truth. This remembrance is a shield. It is not heavy, it does not take minutes to say. It is a sentence, yet it is like an unbreakable fortress. You may not see the walls, but I feel them. When you speak those words, I and my soldiers are pushed back. I cannot whisper in your ear as I did before. I cannot plant anger in your heart as quickly. I cannot drag you to waste your time. My power is chained, and my tricks are delayed. Imagine me and my army like shadows creeping toward you at dawn. We wait for the moment your eyes open, and we rush toward you like a storm. But then you utter this remembrance, and a shield of light rises from your heart. My shadows hit the barrier and scatter like dust in the wind. We retreat, cursing one another, furious that you remembered Allah before we reached you. Do you understand why I work so hard to keep you from this act? I try to convince you it is nothing, that it does not matter, that it is just words. I whisper, asterisk. You already remember Allah in prayer, why bother now? Asterisk. Or I make you so sleepy that you forget. Because if you truly understood the power of this remembrance, you would never leave it off. This morning, Dhikr is not just protection for that moment. It sets the tone for your entire day. It is like planting a flag at the beginning of a battle. When you say it, you declare, I belong to Allah. I acknowledge His power. I know my life is temporary. I believe in resurrection. You start the day with faith, and I, Shaytan, am already defeated. Do you see now why the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, emphasized these remembrances? He gave you keys to survive my tricks. He handed you weapons that are sharper than swords, yet you ignore them. You look for strength in wealth, in technology, in numbers, but your true strength is in the remembrance of Allah. And this particular remembrance, said upon waking, is one of the greatest humiliations for me, because it exposes me instantly. You may not see me, but I am there, waiting. And when you open your mouth with those words, I am struck like a criminal caught in the act. The very first thing you do is declare loyalty to my enemy, Allah. Where can I go from there? It is like trying to storm a fortress that locks its gates before I even approach. My soldiers grow restless. They ask me, why do we fail with this one? And I answer, because they remembered Allah before they remembered me. I want you to wake up reaching for your phone, not for Dhikr. I want the first thing on your tongue to be complaints, sighs, or the name of another human being. If you do that, I have room to plant my seeds. But if you begin with Allah, there is no soil left for me. Let me describe it in another way. Each morning is like a battlefield. You wake, and the forces of good and evil are ready. On one side are the angels, ready to guide you, protect you, and record your obedience. On the other side are my soldiers, eager to whisper, distract, and tempt. The very first words you utter decide which side gains the upper hand. If you say nothing, I rush in first. If you complain or speak heedlessly, I gain ground. But if you praise Allah, the angels advance, and I am forced to retreat. Do not underestimate this. Do not think it is too small to matter. You see, my entire strategy depends on little beginnings. A small delay, a small distraction, a small forgetfulness, that is all I need to lead you to bigger sins. But when you cut me off with Dhikr at the very start of the day, you ruin my entire chain of plans. This is why I call it a shield. It is invisible, but it is real. When you say it, the mercy of Allah descends upon you, and His protection surrounds you. I feel it. I sense it like fire against my skin. My whispers bounce back at me, and my army is left useless. So, remember this, humans. Remember that your strength is not in muscles or in numbers, but in remembrance of Allah. This dhikr, upon waking, is among the simplest, yet it is among the most powerful. I, Iblees, have faced prophets, scholars, worshippers, and ordinary believers. And I tell you honestly, even the weakest believer who remembers Allah upon waking is stronger than the most powerful one who forgets. This is my confession. The remembrance you say upon waking is your shield. It is light on your tongue, but heavy against me. It is a single sentence, but it builds walls I cannot climb. It reminds you of life, of death, and of resurrection. And when you say it, I cannot touch you, and my soldiers scatter like dust in the wind. You humans, you think my power is unstoppable. You think I can whisper and tempt you without end. But what you often forget is that your Lord has given you promises that shatter me. These promises are not vague. They are clear, preserved in your book and in the teachings of the Messenger of Allah. Peace and blessings be upon him. And I hate these promises, because they expose my weakness. Do you know what happens when you say the morning remembrance upon waking? Allah's protection is written for you, not just in that moment, but for the hours ahead. This is the promise of your Creator. When you turn to Him first, He does not abandon you to me. He surrounds you with angels, He grants you light, and He shields you from my traps. Let me tell you something I do not want you to know. Even I, Iblees, fear the words of Allah. When He promises something, I know it will happen. His word is truth. And He promised you that when you remember Him, He will remember you. Think about that. You, a small, weak human, are remembered by the Lord of the worlds when you mention His name. How can I overcome someone whom Allah Himself remembers and protects? Your prophet told you that whoever wakes up and remembers Allah, then makes dua, Allah will answer. If they seek forgiveness, He will forgive. If they ask for guidance, He will guide. This is the promise, and I cannot stop it. I can only try to make you forget to say it in the first place. Imagine this. You wake up, you say those words of praise to Allah, and then you raise your hands with a supplication. In that moment, the gates of the heavens open. The angels rush to carry your words upward, and Allah, the Most High, responds. How can I touch you when the Lord of mercy has answered your prayer? This is why I tremble, because I know that one small act from you can lead to endless mercy from Allah. You underestimate your Lord's generosity, but I have seen it for centuries. I watched Adam, your father, when he turned back to Allah after his mistake. I saw Allah forgive him, despite my efforts to keep him astray. I know His mercy is greater than my traps. So I try to make you doubt it. I whisper, asterisk, what's the point? You sinned yesterday. You are too weak. Your dua will not be answered. Asterisk, but inside, I know the truth. If you call upon Allah sincerely, He will respond. That is His promise. And the promise extends even further. Your prophet said that the one who remembers Allah in the morning is guarded until the evening, and the one who remembers Allah in the evening is guarded until the morning. Do you realize what this means? If you say the prescribed adhkar at these times, I cannot touch you for half of the day. My army is left wandering, unable to break through. What a humiliation for me. My soldiers wait with me, eager to attack you, but we find ourselves chained outside. We watch you walk, eat, work, and pray, and we cannot harm you. Why? Because you spoke a few words of remembrance, and Allah fulfilled His promise to protect you. The Qur'an itself declares that I have no power over the believers who rely upon their Lord. Allah says, my authority is only over those who take me as a friend, those who turn away from Him. Every time you say that remembrance, you step out of my control and into Allah's guardianship. His words are true, and I cannot break them. You may not feel the protection, but I do. You may not see the angels around you, but I do. I sense the barrier. I sense the light. It burns me. It humiliates me. It reminds me of my curse. And it all begins when you wake up and choose Allah over me. I will tell you another secret. Many times, I and my soldiers plan to ruin your day before it begins. We hope you will miss Fajr. We hope you will start with anger. We hope you will be careless. But when you begin with remembrance, all our plans unravel. Even if you stumble later in the day, that first act brings blessings that weigh against my whispers. The promise of Allah is that He multiplies good deeds. One morning, Dhikr may outweigh many of my traps. So, I try to stop you before you even get out of bed. I try to hold you with chains of laziness, because if you speak those words, the chains fall from you and wrap around me instead. And here is the greatest humiliation. Your prophet described the one who remembers Allah as alive, and the one who forgets as dead. Think of that. When you wake and forget, I rejoice, because you are like a corpse walking, easy to control, easy to deceive. But when you remember, you are alive, and I cannot bear the light of your life. Allah promised that those who remember Him will have their hearts illuminated. That illumination burns me and drives me away. I confess, the promises of Allah terrify me, because they never fail. He promised Adam forgiveness, and he gave it. He promised the believers victory, and he gave it. He promised protection to those who remember him, and I feel it every day. You may doubt, but I cannot. I know his word is final. So understand this. The promise is real. If you wake and remember Allah, he protects you. If you call upon him, he answers. If you seek his forgiveness, he forgives. If you begin your day with him, he will guard you until nightfall. These are not empty claims. They are realities I have witnessed again and again, though I wish you never would. This is why I fight so hard to keep you from this remembrance, because with one sentence, one act of obedience, you step into the circle of Allah's protection. And once you are in that circle, I, Iblees, am powerless. You want to know what it feels like for me? You want to know what happens to Iblees, the one who vowed to mislead all of you when a single believer remembers Allah upon waking? It is not just defeat, it is humiliation, it is pain. It is a wound that burns without healing. For centuries I have studied you humans. I know your weaknesses, your habits, your routines. I know that when you wake up, you are groggy, distracted, and vulnerable. That's when I strike. I whisper before you can think. I want the first thoughts in your mind to be of the world, your phone, your work, your worries, not of Allah. If I succeed in that moment, I have already planted seeds for the whole day. But when you open your eyes and immediately utter the remembrance of your Lord, everything collapses. My plan, my strategy, my whispers gone in an instant. The moment you say those words, I feel chains tighten around me. Yes, me, the one who swore to mislead you. It is like iron shackles clamping down on my limbs. It is like a door slamming in my face. One moment I am near, the next I am hurled far away. You cannot see it, but I can. Around you rises a light, a shield woven from the mercy of Allah. It shines brighter than the sun to me. It blinds me and burns me. My army, who is ready to attack, scatters like insects from a flame. We curse one another. We shriek in anger, because we know we have lost you for that day's beginning. Do you know what else it feels like? It feels like suffocating. I am used to roaming freely in your heart, in your thoughts, whispering without barriers. But when you remember Allah upon waking, it is as if the air itself thickens around me. I cannot move. My voice dies in my throat. My whispers bounce back and echo in my own ears. I cannot approach you. I cannot touch you. I cannot plant my poison in you. It is like watching a fortress rise from the earth before my very eyes, stone by stone, stronger than anything I can break. And you built it with just a few words of remembrance. My soldiers ask me, what is happening? Why can we not reach them? And I tell them, because they remembered Allah before we did, and they rage and claw at me, angry because I promised them victory. But what can I do? This is not my power. This is the power of the one who created me, the one whose name you remembered. The humiliation runs deeper, because you are weak, you are small, you are just a human being waking from sleep. And yet, by mentioning your Lord, you become stronger than my entire army. Do you understand how that feels for me? I, who have led nations astray, who whispered to tyrants and kings, am defeated by a tired believer, sitting on the edge of his bed, saying a sentence of praise. It is like a lion being stopped by a child holding a single torch. The torch is nothing compared to the lion's size, but its light is unbearable to him. Your dhikr is that light. When you remember Allah, angels surround you. You may not see them, but I do. They descend like warriors, like guardians with weapons of light. My army flees from their presence. We cannot fight them. We are shadows and smoke. They are light and obedience. They push us back, drive us away, and leave us humiliated. And the worst part? This happens every single morning if you choose it. Every morning you wake, you have the power to break me before your day even begins. You do not need wealth or weapons or status. You only need remembrance. It burns me to say this, but many of you throw this power away. You wake up and scroll on your phone. You wake up and curse the alarm clock. You wake up and complain. And in those moments, I rejoice, because your fortress never rises. My soldiers rush in. We whisper despair, laziness, anger, and arrogance into your heart, all because you left the shield on the floor. But when you pick it up, when you start with Allah, my plans collapse. I am forced back to the edges, watching helplessly as you walk through your morning with light on your face. Let me tell you what else it feels like for me. It is like fire against my skin. Each word of your dhikr is like a flame that strikes me. The angel's writing of your good deed is like thunder to my ears. It is not just a defeat, it is a humiliation. Because I swore to Allah that I would mislead you all. And yet every time you do this, you prove me wrong. You remind me of my own failure. I disobeyed Allah once and was cursed. You disobey Him many times, but when you turn back to Him, He forgives you, He protects you, He lifts you up. And I am left alone in my arrogance, chained by my own pride. So every morning you remember Allah. You are not just protecting yourself, you are striking at me. You are crushing my army. You are tearing down my kingdom. Each dhikr is like a blow to my chest. Each remembrance is like a door slamming shut in my face. You may think it is small, you may think it is just a habit, but for me, it is war. And you are winning. This is my defeat, to see a human wake up, weak and tired, and yet choose Allah over me. To watch the shield rise, to feel the chains tighten, to hear the angels record, and to know my plans are ruined. I will still try. I will still whisper. I will still tempt. That is my nature. But remember this, you have more power than you think, because Allah's promise is true, and my defeat is real. Every time you wake and remember Allah, Iblees falls. My army crumbles. My whispers die before they reach your heart. This is what I never wanted you to know. This is how you defeat me before your day even begins. I have told you how I am defeated, but do you really think I give up easily? I have been plotting against you since before your birth. I have stood by countless bedsides, waiting for that first breath after sleep. I know your habits, your weaknesses, your routines, and every morning, before you even open your eyes, I am already planning how to stop you from saying those words that protect you. I am patient. I am cunning. I do not always attack head-on. My greatest weapon is not force, it is distraction. If I can keep you from remembering Allah at the moment you wake up, even just for a few minutes, I can slip into your thoughts and plant seeds that will grow into heedlessness all day long. First, I try to keep you chained to your bed. Sleep is my ally. I know that when you wake up, you are groggy, your body is heavy, your eyes struggle to open. So I whisper, stay, just one more minute. You're tired, you deserve it. You think it's your own thought, you think it's harmless, but that small delay is all I need. If I can keep your tongue from moving in remembrance, even briefly, your heart will drift back into forgetfulness. By the time you actually get up, your shield is down. My whispers will feel like your own inner voice. I even send dreams before you wake, strange, distracting dreams, so that when you open your eyes, your mind is busy with them instead of Allah. You begin your day thinking about a dream, a worry, a memory, anything but your Lord. And I smile, because your fortress has not yet been built. If my chains of sleep fail and you sit up, then I pour distractions into your mind. I whisper, check your phone, check the time, check your messages. I make you think about your to-do list, your work, your hunger, your bathroom, your coffee. Anything to make you postpone that dhikr. Sometimes I make you remember something urgent that isn't urgent at all. A notification, a news headline, a random thought. You think it's just your brain being busy, but it's me and my soldiers filling your mind with noise so that you forget the simple words that would defeat us. I don't need to stop you with big sins at that moment. I just need to clutter your first seconds. If I can plant enough clutter, you'll forget. And once you forget, I'm inside your day already. Another trick I use is to make the remembrance seem insignificant. I whisper that it doesn't matter. I say, you already prayed yesterday. You already said your evening adhkar. Missing one morning won't harm you. I make the remembrance seem small, unimportant, optional. You might even think you'll say it later, after you're up, after breakfast. But later rarely comes. This is my favorite whisper, making great things seem small. Because if you saw how much light descends upon you when you remember Allah upon waking, you would never miss it. But I cover your eyes with laziness and your heart with excuses. Sometimes I use shame. If you sinned yesterday, I whisper, who are you to praise Allah this morning? You're a hypocrite. He won't accept your dhikr. I try to make you feel unworthy of Allah's protection. I know that's a lie, but I hope you'll believe it, because if you believe it, you'll stay silent, and I'll get my chance. But the truth that terrifies me, is that Allah's mercy is greater than your sins. Even if you sinned all night, one sincere dhikr in the morning can bring His protection. I know this. I've seen it for centuries. But I never want you to realize it. If you're strong enough to remember Allah anyway, I try one more trick, turning your dhikr into routine. I want you to say the words without feeling, without understanding, like a robot, because I know that the power of remembrance is in the heart as well as the tongue. If you say it mechanically, distracted, without meaning, its shield is weaker. So I whisper, just say it quickly. Just mumble it. Get it over with. I want you to check the box, not build the fortress. Because a rushed dhikr is like a door left half open. I can still slip through later. Often, I combine all of these tricks at once. The moment you wake, I rush you with an avalanche. Sleepiness, distractions, shame, excuses. If even one of these works, you'll skip the remembrance. And once you skip it, my army floods in. I can tempt you to skip Fajr. I can make you forget your morning prayers. I can plant impatience, anger, gossip, wasting time, all because you missed that first defense. What seems to you like a harmless minute of delay is, for me, an open gate. What feels to you like a small act is, for me, a battlefield. You see, I don't need to appear in your room. I don't need to shout. I don't need to push. I only need to nudge your thoughts. A moment of laziness, a moment of distraction, a single excuse. That is all it takes to steal the remembrance from your tongue and open the door for me. And once I'm in, I build upon that neglect. I plant seeds of heedlessness that grow into habits, and habits that grow into sins. One morning of forgetting leads to another. One skipped dhikr leads to two. Before long, you start your days without Allah entirely, and my grip is firm. This is my confession. This is how I work. These are the tricks I use to stop you from saying the very words that would break me. I know the power of that dhikr, and so I fight you hardest at the moment you are weakest. If you only knew how much I fear your first words upon waking, you would never let them slip. If you only saw how my army trembles when you remember Allah before reaching for your phone, you would rush to do it every day. I do not fear your wealth. I do not fear your status. I do not fear your strength. I fear your remembrance. That is why I attack it first. Remember this. The battle begins the moment your eyes open. In that instant, you decide whether you stand with Allah's protection or with my whispers. In that instant, You decide whether your day begins with light or with darkness. And I, Iblees, will use every trick I know to stop you from making the right choice. Because once you do, once you say those words with heart and tongue, I am already defeated before the sun rises. I told you about my defeat, but you have not yet heard of my burning. You cannot imagine it, but I will describe it. Because when you wake and your first words are the remembrance of Allah, it is not only a defeat for me, it is a humiliation, a pain that runs through my very being. The moment those words leave your lips, it is like fire on my skin. It is not a fire that gives warmth, it is a fire that devours. Each syllable burns like a brand. I, who once stood among the angels, am scorched by the mention of the Lord I disobeyed. The angels around you glow brighter when you speak, and their light is like daggers to my shadow. Do you think your morning dhikr is only sound? To you it is a quiet sentence, light upon your tongue. But in the unseen world it is like thunder and lightning. It rips through the darkness where my soldiers hide. It is like a spear of light thrown into our camp. We scatter like insects under a torch. Some of us try to hold our ground, but the words push us back as if a storm is sweeping over us. We claw at the ground, but it drags us away. We curse one another. We curse me. They call me a liar because I promised them power over you, but your remembrance humiliates us all. It feels like chains, heavy and cold, wrapping around me and my army. When you speak Allah's name after sleep, my hands feel bound, my feet feel trapped. I can no longer whisper. I can no longer move close. It is as if an invisible barrier rises between us, a barrier you cannot see, but I can feel it pressing against my chest, pushing me farther and farther from you. I try to shout, but my voice dies in my throat. Sometimes, as you sit on your bed, reciting the words your prophet taught you, I watch helplessly as angels descend. They come with wings of light, filling the room you cannot see. Their presence crushes me. Their writing of your good deed echoes like thunder in my ears. I can do nothing. My whispers bounce back at me. My army flees. And I am left alone, in shame, watching a weak human, still rubbing sleep from their eyes, command a strength I cannot match. It is a humiliation deeper than defeat, because I know who you are. You are not a prophet. You are not an angel. You are a mortal with sins and weaknesses. And yet, by uttering a single remembrance with sincerity, you stand under Allah's protection, and I, Iblees, am cast out. Every time this happens, it reminds me of my curse. It reminds me that I disobeyed Allah once, and He expelled me forever. It reminds me that you, despite your sins, can still turn back to Him, and He will forgive you. That burns more than any fire. The burning is not only pain, it is humiliation. I promised Allah I would mislead you all. I boasted that I would surround you from every direction. And yet you, a single believer, destroy my plans before you even leave your bed. You crush my army before they can whisper. You tear down my plots with a few words of praise. Each time you do it, I hear my own arrogance echoing back at me, and it tastes like ashes. Do you know what my soldiers feel? They tremble. They are made of whisper and shadow, and your dhikr is like a wind that blows them away. They curse me for leading them to failure. They scatter, confused, afraid, because the protection of Allah is a fortress we cannot scale. The words you speak become like walls of light, and we cannot pass through. We circle outside, looking for a crack, a weakness, a moment of neglect. But as long as you begin your day with Allah, the fortress holds, and we are exiled. Sometimes we try to endure it. We linger at the edge, hoping your remembrance is rushed, hoping your heart is not in it. But when you speak with sincerity, when you know what you are saying, it strikes us like swords. It is not just sound, it is meaning. You are praising the one who gave you life after sleep. You are acknowledging your return to Him. you are affirming the resurrection. These truths are what I have spent ages trying to make you forget. And when you declare them upon waking, it is as if you have thrown my lies back in my face. This is the burning. It is not just pain, it is powerlessness. I am used to roaming freely, whispering as I please. But after your dhikr, I am like a thief outside a locked door. I press my ear against it, but I cannot enter. I see the light spilling out, but I cannot touch it. I can only wait, hoping you forget later, hoping you leave the fortress open at another time. You may think your dhikr is small, you may think it is just a sentence, but for me, it is a war I lose every morning. Each time you say it, my kingdom weakens. Each time you say it, you prove that Allah's promise is true, and my threats are empty. Each time you say it, you begin your day with victory, and I begin mine with shame. And yet, despite all of this, most of you underestimate the power you hold. You skip the remembrance. You rush into your day heedless. And I rejoice, because the burning ends, and my whispers flow back in. But when you remember, when you choose Allah over me, I am left in chains. That is the burning. That is my humiliation. That is what I never wanted you to know. Understand this. Your morning remembrance is not just protection, it is punishment for me. It is a reminder to me and my army that despite our plotting, Allah's mercy is greater. Despite our power, His protection is stronger. Despite our numbers, a single believer with dhikr is untouchable. This is why I fight so hard to stop you at that first moment. Because once you say it, my defeat is sealed, my burning begins, and my day starts with failure. This is my confession. This is the truth behind the unseen. When you wake and remember Allah, it is not a small act. It is a battle. And each time you do it, you win, and I burn. You've now heard my secrets. You've listened to my confessions. You've seen how a few words from your tongue can scatter my army, burn my skin, and shatter my plans. But before this ends, let me tell you something even more important. Everything you've just heard means nothing if you don't act on it. My greatest victory is not in tempting you with great sins, it is in keeping you from small acts of remembrance. Because small acts, repeated, build fortresses I cannot touch. Every morning, a battle begins. It's not a battle you can see with your eyes. There are no swords, no shields, no soldiers marching through your room, but it is real. On one side are the angels, waiting to record your obedience, to protect you by Allah's command, to bring barakah into your day. On the other side is me, Iblees, with my soldiers, waiting for a moment of forgetfulness, a tiny opening to slip inside. The first seconds of your day decide the strength of your defense. If you begin with Allah, you've already won the first battle. If you begin with heedlessness, my work is easy. Understand this. Allah has not left you defenseless. He has given you weapons and shields more powerful than anything in this world. They are not heavy, they are not expensive, they are not hidden. They are words, but words filled with faith, words filled with truth. Your prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, taught you these remembrances as a mercy. They are not random, they are keys to protection. They are like locks on your heart that I cannot pick. When you wake up and praise Allah, who gave you life after the death of sleep, you are doing more than speaking. You are declaring allegiance. You are saying, before anything else, my heart belongs to Allah. You are not just waking up physically, you are waking up spiritually, and that one act sets the course of your entire day. Do you know how different your day is when you start with Allah? The angels surround you. Barakah enters your time. Temptations become easier to resist. Your mood is calmer. Your heart is lighter. Even your work feels blessed. You may not see it, but you will feel it if you pay attention. And do you know how different your day is when you start with heedlessness? You scroll your phone before dhikr. You complain before gratitude. You begin in a rush. The angels step back. my whispers take root. Small irritations grow into anger. Small delays grow into procrastination. Sins feel easier. You wonder why your day feels heavy. It's because you started with an open door for me. You do not have to let me in. You can close the door every morning. You can slam it shut with one remembrance. You can start your day with a fortress around your heart. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be a scholar. You don't need to memorize the whole Qur'an. You only need sincerity. That is what terrifies me most. A sincere dhikr from a sinner burns me more than an empty dhikr from a saint. Because sincerity is a flame I cannot endure. Believers, this is your power. This is your shield. This is your morning victory. Don't let me trick you into thinking it's small. Don't let me whisper that it can wait until later. Don't let me tell you you're not worthy. Allah's mercy is greater than my lies. If you wake up and remember Him, He remembers you. If you call upon Him, He answers. If you seek His protection, He protects. These are not my words, these are His promises, and I know His promises never fail. So start tomorrow differently. Before you touch your phone, before you talk to anyone, before you even stand up, move your tongue with the words your prophet taught you. Praise the one who gave you life after sleep. Acknowledge that to Him you will return. Say it slowly. Say it with meaning. Picture what it means. Your soul was taken and returned. One day, it will not return until the day of resurrection. Your life is a gift. Your return is inevitable. Let those truths sink into your heart. That is when the shield rises. That is when the angels surround you. That is when my army flees. And don't stop there. Follow it with Fajr prayer. Follow it with your morning adkar. Follow it with small acts of dhikr throughout the day. Each act builds another layer of defense. Each act weakens my hold. Each act is a chain around my neck. Even if you fall into sin later, even if you slip, that morning remembrance gives you strength to return to Allah and seek forgiveness. It plants a seed of light that my darkness cannot fully extinguish. I will still try, I will still whisper. That is my mission until the day of judgment. But you must understand, my power is not absolute. My whispers are not commands. My traps are not chains. They are invitations. If you refuse them, I am nothing. If you hold on to Allah, I am powerless. If you begin your day with Him, my defeat is sealed. This is why I expose myself to you now, because I have seen too many of you throw away this gift. You think your protection is in routines, in alarms, in self-help, but your greatest protection is in remembering your Creator before your creation. If you knew how my soldiers tremble when you begin your day with Allah, you would rush to do it every morning. If you knew how much light descends on you at that moment, you would never trade it for a few more minutes of sleep or a scroll through your phone. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, compared the one who remembers Allah to the living and the one who forgets to the dead. Think of that every morning. Do you want to wake up alive, or do you want to wake up dead? Alive hearts remember Allah. Dead hearts forget Him. Alive hearts build fortresses. Dead hearts leave the gates wide open. Make your choice. Wake up alive. Wake up with light. Wake up with the remembrance that shatters me before I can touch you. This is not a small habit, it is war. It is your first battle of the day, and if you win it, many victories will follow. If you lose it, my whispers find their way in. So tomorrow, when your eyes open, remember this confession. Picture me waiting at your bedside. Picture my army crowding around you. Picture their claws reaching for your heart. And then say the words your prophet taught you. Watch the shield rise. Watch the angels descend. Watch me scatter like smoke before a wind. That is your power. That is your victory. That is your morning. This is exposing Shaytan. Iblees has spoken. Now you know my secrets. Now you know my tricks. Now you know my defeat. Take what you've learned. Act on it. Begin each morning with the remembrance of Allah. Crush me before your day begins. Protect your heart before I reach it. Choose light before darkness. Choose life before death. Choose Allah before me. And when you do, know this: you are not only protecting yourself, you are humiliating me. You are burning me. You are striking at the heart of my kingdom. Every believer who does this weakens me. Every believer who does this proves my arrogance false. Every believer who does this fulfills Allah's promise that my power is nothing over His true servants. Do not let this be just another video. Let it be a turning point. Let tomorrow morning be the first of many mornings you begin with victory. And when you do, remember this confession and know Iblees is watching you. But Iblees cannot touch you. Not when you remember Allah first. This is your shield. This is your weapon. This is your morning victory. Use it. Live it. Teach it to your family. Teach it to your children. Make your home a fortress. And begin every sunrise by burning my army before it can whisper a single word. This is the call to action. This is the closing reminder. This is how you crush Shaytan every day. I have revealed everything, my tricks, my defeats, my burning. You now hold in your hands a shield that can crush me every morning. Do not let my whispers steal it from you. The moment you open your eyes tomorrow, remember this confession. Do not reach for your phone. Do not delay. Move your tongue with the remembrance your prophet taught you. Praise the one who returned your soul after the death of sleep, and to him you will return. In that moment, the fortress will rise, the angels will descend, and I will be forced to flee. Believers, you have the power. Use it. Make this dhikr your habit. Teach it to your family. Build your homes into fortresses of light. Begin each day by humiliating me and my army before we can whisper a single word. If you do, you will walk through your day under Allah's protection, with your heart alive, your soul at peace, and your enemy in chains. This is times exposing Shaytan asterisk. You've heard the confession. Now live the defense. Start your morning with Allah and watch the darkness scatter.